Okay, so we'll take a sprig of, in this case, Monstera, I think it's going to be. Let's shake it loose. Okay, so here's a sprig of Monstera. It's got some roots started. This is from back in late June, early July. This was being held together against the matten filter by a blue foam block, but now that I have the spun coconut in there, I'm just going to embed it in the coconut. So the coconut is free to rot while the roots continue to grow and take over. Get another piece of Monstera. All of this Monstera came from just a few clippings at the time of Findig. Lots of new roots growing on that, as you can see. There and there. And these are just going to be laid in onto the coconut husk. And fish will be able to swim up into the coconut husk. As you can see, it's well underwater, so babies will be able to hide there. What I'm using is the corks. As you can see there's another one over here. Although they're not sitting quite where I wanted. My goal was to have the corks right up underneath the lip of the aquarium so they're not visible to me. And notice I have a couple of tan corks and a couple of black corks. These are synthetic corks. I think it's the Apothique brand of wine. And my goal was to put since I didn't have 4 black corks, I was going to put the tan corks up front where they'd be hidden by the black. And if I happen to look over at the top, you'll notice the black corks are at the back. So if I happen to look over, I barely notice them because they blend in with the black paint on the back of the aquarium. So that's the strategy there. Let's get some more Monstera. Now the horsetail that I planted in summer did not take off like it did out in the greenhouse before. And some of the Monstera is not going to be in the coconut fiber, but just beside it. I'm going to let the stems kind of stand up on their own there. There we go. And I still have this. Here's more Monstera. Okay, another sprig of Monstera. Put that in there. Growing all over. More Monstera. There's a lot of Monstera growing. And my room light just automatically went off. I'll fix that. Where's the roots? There they are. Okay, kind of push that down. There we go. So we still have the Ludwigia growing. It was doing really well in the beginning. It's doing okay now. There's a lot of small segments you can see down underneath the branch. They seem to do better at full sun, not as well in the partial sun. So I'm moving the Ludwigia more and more. There's some new growth right there. I'm moving the Ludwigia more towards the side of the aquarium with the waterfall because that gets more sun in the morning. This right now, it's about 4 in the afternoon, so the sun is really setting. I'm also going to take this right here and back. This is a bearded lily plant that I pulled out of my front yard, and it's starting to take off. The roots are doing okay. He's going to go in there as well. Stand up a little bit taller. So hopefully all these root masses from all these plants really start to anchor into each other as they grow. The other real new addition to this tank, a couple of new additions actually since we last spoke. These are just spare bamboo skewers that I was using to support things. They can stay here for now. This right here is a massive calla lily that I purchased at Lowe's. It was in a pot. I pulled it out of the dirt, rinsed it off, and put it in the tank. And it says online these can be planted up to 40 inches below the water line, but for now I'm keeping it right near the water surface while it sets in. I also, you remember last week or 2 weeks ago, I added anthurium, which has lost its flowers, which is fine, but it's still got new leaves coming in, so that's all I need to know is it's getting established. And it's been floating with the cork that came with it, but I'm going to move it now into the coconut husk to give it a better stable base to grow in. And we'll see. And then other than that, no real changes to the tank. I did add, I think a while ago I told you I added a stem of rose right back here, which is just getting established. It had no roots. It was just pulled out of the ground, had a tiny root. That's it. It was a sort of a sucker coming off a nearby rose plant. It was coming from underground, so I just threw that in there. And the African iris is actually doing really well. You can see down here it's sending off its own new stems down there. This is the catnip, which is still growing. It's kind of beaten up because of the other plants. It gets broken stems really easily, but it's growing. Just I break the stems on it. There you go. Now I've got to wait for Microglannis to breed again in there, or anybody else.